Okay, welcome to GalaxyEzine.com's section on science fiction, fantasy, and horror history. What is there to say about that? Most people think science fiction started with Star Trek. If you look at sciencefiction.com, they say science fiction began with Star Trek in 1964. Hello?
I couldn't believe it when you told me that.
Oh, yeah.
I had to go and look, and at the time I looked, it really was on the front page.
Oh, yeah, they're dumb.
I couldn't believe it.
They are dumb. Science fiction, we have science fiction from Roman times.
Right.
We have science fiction from Babylonian and Sumerian times. We have fantasy, science fiction, and horror from all those time periods. They're unrecognized science fiction and horror things. I was looking at a list, for instance, Edgar Allan Poe is obvious.
Right.
Nathaniel Hawthorne is obvious.
But what about Beowulf?
Obviously, Beowulf is science fantasy or fantasy fiction or horror fiction.
Right. In Shakespeare, Midsummer Night's Dream, it's a straight up fantasy.
Absolutely, it's a fantasy. And there are many such things. So historically speaking, Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, now we can go back way further than that, actually, way further than that, and go back thousands of years, and then easily back hundreds of years, and come up with genre devices. For instance, Arthur Conan Doyle, he basically invented police forensics, fingerprinting, right, and examining a crime scene. Crime scene investigation, CSI, wouldn't exist without Sherlock Holmes.
Well, mythology can be argued as fantasy that made it big.
Charles Dickens wrote a ghost story called A Christmas Carol.
Right.
That's a ghost story, folks. Think about it. So that's a supernatural horror story in a way.
Right.
So history does not start with Star Trek, folks. We're going to take a look at that and see where it does begin and how far back it goes, and we'll get into a whole thing on that here on Galaxy EZ.
Pay tribute to a much richer background.
There's a great heritage of science fiction, fantasy, and horror, much greater than where it starts in 1964. It doesn't start there.